Hi, Bestie. All right, so you are getting your ESL job interviews. Everything is going well, but you're not very sure how to go about preparing for the interviews. Let me help you. 5 things. Number 0. I didn't want to say 6 because 6 doesn't sound cool. So 0, you need to relax. Try not to stress too much about it. Try not to overthink the interview. Just relax. Bring your best self. I find that when you are relaxed, you don't really make a lot of mistakes, and also they are there to assess you. You are there to assess them as well, to read the situation, see if they're professional, see if they're asking the questions that really need to be asked, because sometimes they can be dodgy and ask you things that they have no business asking you. So be relaxed, chill. It's a big deal, but also it's not like, it's a huge deal, but it's not a big deal at the same time. Yeah, catch my drift? If he catches, he catches. Just try to chill. Number 1, you need to carefully read the job description. This is a given, but you need to know what you're getting yourself into. Is it requiring you to be a homeroom teacher? If it's requiring you to be a homeroom teacher, then read the responsibilities so that you're able to answer the questions, because maybe the questions might be centered around that. Is it requiring you an oral English teacher? Then your answers and questions are going to be centered around that. What does your job description say? What are your responsibilities? What are the working hours? You need to know that for sure, so that even your questions, if you do have questions about those things, are around that, and so that you can see if this suits you as a person, right? Because sometimes when you read the job description and you're like, this is not really for me, and that's okay. Number 2, you need to do ample research about the company or the school. Though I would rather you apply to schools, especially when you are coming to China, but sometimes you do find companies that are still operating and they are good companies. Just read as much as you can about the company. Sometimes you're not going to find a lot of information on Google, especially here. They've banned Google, so maybe you want to go to their site. Is it Baidu or something like that? Go there, find out about the school, ask other people if they know about the school, ask people who are here in China to try and help you find out more about the school. Call the embassy and check if the school is registered. Anything and everything, just know that you know about the school, not because you're trying to protect yourself only, but also because you want them to know that you know about the school, like the questions and that sort of stuff. You don't want to go and have do an interview, but you don't really know anything about the company. Maybe some questions might be centered around the company you want to know, but also just to protect yourself, to know if you're getting yourself into something that is legit, if you're not wasting your time even, because time is valuable. Just ask about the school as much as you can. Read if there's information on Google. Some international schools will have stuff on Google, which is so much better. They're going to have even reviews. Go to Glassdoor, for example, check the reviews, because some schools you'll find reviews. Teachers are very honest on Glassdoor. Just do something. Just don't go ahead and have an interview and you don't know about the company or the school. Number 3, learn about the country the school is situated in. Even if it's going to be a remote job, you want to know the culture, especially the culture, because some of the questions might be centered around that. So for example, when they ask you how are you going to handle disorder in the classroom, maybe culturally in your country you whip the kids and that's acceptable, but maybe wherever you want to go teach, there's no whipping the kids, or maybe the parents are very overprotective, helicopter parents like here, and there's things that you can and cannot do depending on the culture. So familiarizing yourself with the culture is so helpful. Know just how life is there, even though you're never going to know until you live in that specific country. But having a good idea from people like me, telling our experiences, going to YouTube channels, because there's plenty of them, just listening to people. Some people lie, but that will help with the cultural knowledge and the country knowledge. Have a very good understanding of the age range that you are going to be teaching, right? Because the interview questions, if I'm teaching older kids, then the interview questions are likely to be centered around or that age group, even though it's about education, but at the same time, it's that age group. If you are going to be teaching the young ones, definitely the questions are centered around that. So having a very good idea of the age group will help you be better prepared, as opposed to not knowing the age group and just going there. Maybe you're going to find yourself teaching 50-year-olds if it's a company, not like an actual school. And then number 5, you need to prepare the right outfit, equipment, and pick the right schedule, especially if you have load shedding, because you know how your life is with load shedding. Right attire. You need to look presentable. You might have your interview. I remember the first time I ever spoke to an agent was at around, was it not? It was so early. I want to say around 2 or something like that in the evening. I woke up, I put on clothes, I ironed something like some nice clothes and stuff, because it was about a job. I can't just wake up with pajamas and go to the screen, and it's just not professional, right? So you want to look presentable. You can be formal, but you don't really have to be formal. You can have your nice shirt, iron it, no cringy, dirty, creased clothing, right? It's a job interview like any other job interview. It's over the screen, but you want to look very presentable. Your hair, your voice, even like you were sleeping, but maybe you want to wake up a little bit earlier, maybe 30 minutes earlier than before the interview starts, just to move around, get your head straight and stuff, depending whether you're a morning person or not. I'm not, so I had to do that. Just look presentable, don't look raggedy. The time. So I did make a mistake with my second interview. I made a mistake. I selected a time at 10 a.m. when I was supposed to be at work. I remember being so shattered because I was not aware I was aware of the time difference, but when I selected on the schedule, I didn't pick the right time zone. So make sure that you are professional in that sense. You pick the right time zone. You might do the interview very early, or you might do the interview maybe while you're at work, if there's privacy at work, because you don't want them snooping in your business. Yeah, just be very, very sure to pick the right time that suits you. If you're going to be scheduled for load shedding at 10, maybe they will undo the load shedding at 12. Maybe don't say 12, say 2, because you never know with load shedding, right? Yeah. And then the right equipment. You will need to have enough data. I think 1 gig is okay. I'm not sure how that works. I've had Wi-Fi for quite a few years now. I don't really know how data works, but I think 1 gig would work. You want to have a computer that doesn't die when it's not plugged in, or I don't know, like a working computer. If not a computer, then a phone that is fully charged, that is going to withstand the whole thing. And then you could also use your iPad. Just have something that is reliable. You don't want your phone or computer dying and making you look like you're ill-prepared or you're not very professional. Just make sure that you look professional, you're prepared, no technical glitches, unless it's something that you cannot really control. It's not your fault that they might decide to not stick to the schedule about load shedding. So if that happens, then that's not your fault. But anything that you can control, just make sure that you are prepared in that sense. Right, so you also want to check the type of school. I forgot that in checking the type of school or company, so that you can see and read up on their culture as an organization as well. Because some cultures are very money driven, profit driven, and then some cultures are more school money driven. All ESL schools are, but also care about the environment. You don't want to work for, at least I don't want to work for an environment that only cares about money, puts money first at the expense of the employees, the teachers in the sense, which happens a lot. Yeah, that's all, you guys. Nail the interviews. Bye.